Okay, so in this video, we're going to be ranking all of the factions from worst to best. In my opinion, of course. I'm ashamed to admit I have about 300 hours in this game. I'm level 238, so I had a lot of time to play with all of the factions and pretty much learn which ones are really top tier, which ones are mid tier, and which ones are just kind of low. So in my opinion, from all the matches I've played, here is my list from worst to best of all the factions. Coming in as the worst faction currently is the Echelon. Now the Echelon was really good in OP when it first came out, mostly because of its intel scan. You have an ability to intel scan through walls, and you highlight enemies within range. It had a pretty decent range as well, and it highlighted enemies for about 2 to 3 seconds. It's essentially wall hacks. But it did get nerfed within the last few updates, so now the cooldown I believe is 45 seconds per intel scan, and instead of them being scanned for 3 seconds, they're only scanned for about 1 second. Now because of that nerf, I feel like intel scan really is not that helpful anymore. I mean, it is helpful, but you have to be paying attention because once the enemy gets scanned, after 1 second, he's not going to be scanned anymore, so if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss out. The other ability is the ghillie suit, where you actually go invisible. Now usually this will be a really good ability, but it comes with a few problems. For one, it is really loud. I can't tell you how many times I've heard a player come up with the invisibility on and I can just hear them before they even come around the corner. So I'm able to pre-aim or pre-fire and kill them before they even get a shot off. Also, if you're running around with the invisibility on, you are very noticeable. It's easy to see your outline, so you have to be careful. The one thing that you can do, and especially if you're playing more objective-based game modes, is if you were to stay completely still, then the enemies will have a hard time seeing you, as you see in this clip here. The enemy saw me go in the building, I clearly crouched down invisible, did not move, and he ran right by me. Didn't even see me at all. But if I was moving around that room, he most likely would have saw me. Coming in 5th place is Deadsec. Now, Deadsec you guys may know as one of the most probably annoying factions in the game, mostly because of the spider bot. Spider bot is probably the most annoying gadget I've ever seen in any FPS shooter. I wouldn't be mad if they just took it out the game completely. But as you guys know, the spider bot, all you have to do is throw it down, and it goes to the nearest enemy. You just follow it and get the kill. No skill involved. It's pretty self-explanatory. Spiderbot can be good for disrupting enemies mid gunfight, but if you do throw a spiderbot down, make sure you give yourself some distance when you're following it. That way it has time to jump on the enemy before you can get your shots off. Because sometimes the enemy could kill you before the spiderbot jumps on them, and then they're able to get the spiderbot off, and then you just wasted it. The other ability is the hijack ability. Now this one is really good because you can hack other players' abilities, such as the mag barrier, the barbed wire, trophy system, even fire drones if you're quick enough. You can hack a fire drone from a cleaner and send it right back to them, but you have to be fast. His ultra is an EMP, which shuts down other players' ultras. Coming in number 4th place is the Libertad. So Libertad is basically the medic of the game. They come with 2 abilities. They have a healing canister and another healing thing that you could throw on the ground. Now the reason I love the Libertad is because this game is objective focused. The Libertad really comes in handy when it comes to keeping your team healed up. The healing canister pretty much works as a stim shot to where if she gets injured, she can pop that and it'll heal her health really quick. As you know, it takes really long to heal up in this game. And I believe they did that on purpose so that way Libertad actually has meaning to the game. You can see when your teammates are hurt, you can run up to them, you can heal them. You even have a passive ability where you can heal up your teammates faster by just standing next to them. You don't even have to do anything, just stand next to them and they will heal up faster. Her ultimate ability is basically where she puts down a big circle, which is like the ultimate healing circle that gives you 200 HP and it heals you up insanely fast. You can still die from it if someone beams you directly a full clip. But if they were to have to reload or they miss a shot, then you can heal up insanely fast and you can kill them. Although I have noticed a lot of players playing Libertad selfishly and just healing up themselves instead of their teammates. Coming in at number 3, we have the Cleaners. So the Cleaners is possibly my most played faction since the game came out. I used them heavy in the beginning, but now I'm sort of switching back and forth between Phantom. But I love the Cleaners because of their fire ability. So they have a fire drone, which you can send, and you can do a lot of different plays with this, which is what I really love. It's perfect for getting them off certain objectives or even holding off a certain flank, because when you send a fire drone, it does leave the ground on fire for a few seconds. So if enemies do run over it, they will start to burn up. You also have incendiary rounds where if you shoot an enemy, it does fire damage over time. This can be good if you do a 1v1 gunfight and you die and the enemy is only like 3 HP, then he would automatically die from your fire bullets, which I can't tell you how many times I've got extra kills just from the incendiary rounds alone. He also has a firebomb ability, which you can just slam a firebomb on the ground around, killing any enemies within that radius. This one's a little bit tricky if you don't know how to use it, but it can come in handy for clearing out certain areas. My tip is when you use the firebomb, make sure you have good movement because you don't want the enemy to kill you before you can drop it. It does take about like 1 second to actually deploy it, so you're gonna have to like move around, jump, maneuver until you slam it on the enemy. Don't just try to run face on and drop it because you most likely will die before you even get it off. And then his ability is a flamethrower, which I actually think is pretty decent on small, mid-sized maps. If you're trying to do it long range though, it's not that good, but if you're playing on like Arena or HQ, then it can be really, really good. You just have to know how to use it. Always jump and slide when you're using the flamethrower so you can get your flame off first before you die. Coming in at number 2 is GSK. Now the GSK faction is really good for objective modes. I put them at number 2 because since this game is heavy objective focus, GSK is definitely top tier. They do take less headshot damage than any other faction, so you cannot get headshotted by a sniper from 1 bullet. They would need 2 bullets to headshot you, unless they have the incendiary rounds, of course. They have 2 abilities. They have a barbed wire and they have a trophy system. So the barbed wire is pretty cool for holding up choke points. It does damage and it also shocks the enemy as well. Now it can be EMP'd, but it will not destroy the barbed wire. It'll just stop the electricity in the barbed wire. To destroy the barbed wire, you would just have to manually melee it. But the barbed wire is good, especially for smaller maps, because you can hold choke points and really watch certain things. If enemies try to run away and they turn a corner not knowing barbed wire's there, it can really mess them up. And then the trophy system is really good as well, because this you can put basically on a wall, on the ceiling, or on the floor. Perfect for occupy, domination, those capturing type of modes. I believe it's deployed for 30 to 45 seconds. I can't remember off the top of my head. And within that time, it blocks an unlimited amount of lethals. Perfect for ranked mode, especially when you're playing those occupy modes, because a ton of people running EMP grenades, it'll block a lot of that. Possibly one of the best defensive characters in the game. The ultimate ability is also a riot shield with a flashbang on it, which is also really effective and used really well when you use it with your teammates backing you up. And then coming in at number 1, I'm gonna have to say the Phantoms. Now the Phantoms is possibly the most used person in ranked right now, obviously because of everyone using the mag barrier, which is the shields. The Phantoms also have 120 HP, the highest HP in the game, which I can't tell you how many times it either saved the enemy from dying or it saved me from dying. The mag barrier is probably the most used gadget on the Phantoms. No one really uses the other riot shield. I mean, the other riot shield is pretty good, I guess, if you use it for escort maybe, but other than that though, people don't really use it in especially competitive mode. Mag barrier is the way to go with Phantom. I believe the mag barrier has 400 health, but I can't tell you how many times that mag barrier has saved me or saved the enemy from dying. And I believe the Phantoms are pretty much the tanks of this game. And the ultimate ability is a giant dome. So you have a giant dome, your teammates could be in that dome and they can shoot out of that dome, killing enemies. And you yourself have a weapon where if someone tries to go in your dome and kill you, you could pretty much one-tap them. Like I said, I can't tell you how many times this ability comes in clutch on objective-based game modes. But yeah, that is my list from worst to best factions in the game. If you guys disagree or you agree, let me know in the comments down below your opinion and what your list is from worst faction to the best. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. If you want to see more videos or ranking videos like this, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that thumbs up. This is a brand new channel dedicated to FPS games, currently XDefiant, so hopefully you guys enjoy this. And if you ever want to game together sometime, let me know.